Hi guys, welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast. This is podcast number 14, I think.
14, yeah.
Could be wrong. Yeah. We've had a little bit of time in between our last recording here and today.
I'm back.
It's been just a little bit.
I've returned.
Jacob's back.
Forgot, yeah.
Terrible.
I forgot that he was on the last pod. It's unfortunate. We apologize in advance. But
Hey, last
No,
pod
it's
did
okay,
numbers without Jacob. Big 20 views.
I'm cooked. I'm cooked.
20 something views.
I'm not an
We
integral
did not
piece
get
of this
numbers.
podcast. That's brutal.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a weird spot in the season right now because we got past the trade deadline breakdowns and everything, and it's kind of more geared towards the playoff race. And there's a little bit of a race going on right now in both wildcard spots.
yeah.
We'll get to that, but as usual, we're gonna start with the Leafs. In between the time that me and Seb recorded that trade deadline,
A lot
kind of
happened.
recap. Yeah, and this pod, it's been a really weird part of the season for the Leafs. They looked really brutal for a while there against Florida, against Colorado. There's one team in Ottawa. They looked really bad against Ottawa. But recently they've looked better. They're on three-game win streak right now. They play Nashville tonight. They've beaten Calgary. They've beaten New York Rangers, of course, and
Colorado.
They have also beaten Colorado. Sorry.
Nashville tonight. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, they've kind of bounced back nicely here a little bit. Obviously, you have to keep it going because I think that's been one of the bigger problems for the Leafs this season. They've been a little bit streaky, which is I don't think they've ever been this streaky before. I think this
No,
like a
it's
new
been
thing for them.
it's been really streaky this season. They'll have their hot streaks where they look, how they look right now. Really strong defensively, good along the boards, good in front of the net. They're getting anything on net, tipping pucks. They're not really getting necessarily the flashiest goals all the time, like in years past, but they're chugging
Which
along.
I like better because you don't get
exactly.
flashy goals in the playoffs.
You don't
that
get-
often.
Yeah. One thing
And,
I've noticed that I'm sure you guys have noticed too is that they're playing a lot of really close hockey games, and I know that the Leafs, even in years past, they've never been the team that will beat you 10-0, like some teams in the past. Like I know Colorado had, I think it was probably the other one, the Cup, where I feel like they were, or maybe it was Florida when they won the President's Trophy. They were winning a bunch of games, like scoring 9 goals, 8 goals, and it's like the Leafs were never that team, but they have like a lot of 1-goal games, a lot of 2-goal games. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if there's anything you guys can make of that.
Sound defensively.
That's
Like,
true.
The way they
That's
play
true.
this season, it's just completely like. I think in years past we've like overstated they look different. Like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
genuinely is a team that plays completely different than what they've played in the past.
And you don't need to watch the games to see that either. Like, even just look at the defense core on paper. It's like, oh wow, they have Tanev and Carlo and McCabe. How could have I ever predicted that that's better than Justin Hall and Travis Dermott? Like,
Carlos looks really good.
He has.
He's great.
He has.
He had a rough. I think he had a rough like 2 or 3 games.
First
off the
two,
start,
yeah,
but
first two.
Ever since then, I think that pairing of him and Bo have been really solid. I think the numbers back me up. I'm pretty sure they've won the expected goals for percentage battle in each of the last 5 games, and I think it's been a pretty big blow if you look at the numbers. If I'm not wrong, I know Kevin Papetti on Twitter has been all over that. I do want to pull those numbers up because they have been pretty impressive, and I think it's. You can think whatever you want about analytics, but I think there's something that's worth looking at.
Analytics.
The stat.
Sorry.
Yeah, the last 5 games, Carl's last 5 games by expected goals for percentage, 75.2 against Florida, 76 against Ottawa, 69.2 against Calgary, 57.8 against Colorado, and 71.4 against New York. So you're seeing some really, really, really good performances there.
That's great.
Especially against some of the top teams, and obviously I think that Colorado game I don't think they played the best. I think the first period they kind of ran over a little bit, and then after that they seemed to settle in a little bit more. But yeah, it's some really good performances from one of the 2 deadline acquisitions, and we're going to have to get to Lod in here soon because he's looked pretty bad. And I mean, we're going to have to talk about that because that's going to be a big problem for them if he can't get going. But I mean, Carlos looked great.
Yeah, I to your point on like analytics, I know some people give their like eye rolls to analytics, and even it depends on how you use them. Like, they have to come with context. Like, you can't just like pull up a Rap'em chart from Evolving Hockey and just like see blue and it's like, yeah, this guy's the fucking GOAT.
Yeah, because they're all different too, right? Like every.
There's a lot of context.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that they're all different. It's just like you have, some guys might look really good defensively, but they barely have any defensive zone starts or something, or they're like quality of competition. They play like the other team's worst players or something. And I think for Brandon Carlo, having good expected goals for share is really good considering their context. That's a pairing that should be probably playing in the offensive zone most of the time because of Mo.
And we already have a shutdown pairing with McCabe and Tanev.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to go out and try to lock someone down, that McCabe-Tanev pairing is huge.
All that tells me...
And that's one of the reasons why it's so big to have Carlo there. Because we needed someone to play with Mo that wasn't Tanev.
And like...
Now that McCabe-Tanev pairing has been unreal.
And like all that tells me, like them having that high of an expected goals for, is that acquisition is doing its job in allowing that pairing and Morgan Riley to be on the offensive side of the puck more and to be controlling the scoring chances and everything instead of being, hemmed in the zone. And when they are hemmed in the zone, you have a guy like Brandon Carlo who's going to be a little more responsible than other pairings that Morgan Riley's had this season just due to the quality of the player he is. Yeah,
because I think we've known for a while that this is kind of the type of player that Morgan Riley needs on his right-hand side. Nice one, Seb.
This is my fault.
No, you're good. Like, like Riley is at his best when he can just kind of like he pinches a lot, and like not this year, but in the past, it leads to a lot of goals. Like when he does decide to remember how to shoot the puck, he can really snipe the thing from time to time.
Goals. No, he did
he did score 20. Yeah, but and Carlo having another 2 years is just like makes me want to goon.
One thing I noticed about Carlo, that I think he uses, like, he's a big guy, but he's not, like, I think we've known he's not, like, the big bruising defenseman, like, even if he's 6'5". But one thing I do notice with him is I think he uses his body well to separate people from the puck. And it's not huge hits, it's just getting in the way, hitting somebody on the boards, like, just creating open pucks to allow not just him to get the puck, but to like help recovery with Mo. And that's something you need on that pairing, because Mo doesn't really do that often. He's not really the type of guy to really separate a body from the puck as much. It's a lot more finesse with him. But I think it's a good fit.
Carlos exactly. Sorry.
I was just gonna say Carlo's been really like just like quiet and calm, right? Just like slow it down. Don't worry, I'll do my thing. Figure it out, right? And he's had a couple lapses in the defensive zone where he's just looked out of position, but I don't think that can really be chalked up to anything more than learning the system. He's played 7 games as a Leaf, so don't really care.
Doesn't have the best hands either. There's been a few plays I've noticed where he kind of like bumbles the puck a little, but what you were just talking about, Mateo, that's exactly what we were talking about last podcast when we got him. Like, this isn't necessarily the type of guy that's going to go out and like murder you in the middle of the ice, but again, very strong on the puck, hard to get off of it. He's going to be good separating you from the puck. He's good in front of the net. We kind of talked about it. He's kind of just like a younger, better quality Luke Shen. Which I think is why this pairing is working so well, because I think that's exactly the type of defenseman works with.
All that being said, I still want to see more from Morgan Riley. I still don't think he personally has been very good or the player that he needs to be. And I think we had a discussion a couple weeks ago where it was like, how worried are you about Morgan Riley? I said not very worried. I'm kicking that up a notch. I'm a little worried. He looks a little lost out there at times. I don't know what needs to be done to make it work here, but he's an important player and person to this team. Make it work, and I think getting Brandon Carlo is part of just doing what it takes to make it work, right?
More aggressive. One thing I think he's kind of admitted that the new system is taking a little bit of getting used to for him, because the Leafs have really transitioned from more of a rush style offense with Keefe to more of a slower kind of grinding style, or more style. Sorry, is
definitely dump and chase
with Berube, and it doesn't help when it doesn't really help puck moving, like offensively minded focused defensemen when you play in this style, because you're not getting up ice. It's a lot more get the puck out of the offensive or out of the defensive zone into the neutral zone, crash the corners in the offensive zone, and then you get a little bit of a cycle going. If you do it properly, that's how it's supposed to work. So for Mo, who we see likes to jump into the rush a lot, like we've seen Mo since like Babcock, like he likes to jump into the rush, and that's how he creates most of his offense. He's not really a big like bomb from the point. It's a lot more jumping in, rush chances, finding the open ice, but
his skill set is kind of that of a forward, right? Which is interesting.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I hope we see him get a little bit more comfortable here in the playoffs, because they didn't need him, but I just think it's a lot more about trying to pick your spots with your offense. I think Berube said too, he needs to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more aggressive. Which is, you can't be too worried. Like, if you're playing scared, you're not going to play well. If you're scared of making a mistake, you're not going to play well. And it's not about being careless, it's about being confident with your team.
and taking risks, right?
I'm not sure if he's there yet.
Exactly like you said. He's just, I think it's better to take a calculated risk that might go wrong than to be so unsure of what to do and scared of that you're going to make the mistake that you just end up doing nothing and standing in the middle of the play, watching everything happen, not deciding what to do. That's kind of what I've seen from it a couple times in the past week or so.
I think the thing about Mo is, like, I can't remember if it was right before the Four Nations break or if it was right after, but it was somewhere in there. We saw Mo playing his best hockey of the year for like a 5 or 6 game stretch there. And he was doing the exact same things you guys just talked about. He was pinching on plays, he was making kind of more, not necessarily rush, but he was joining in on the forwards and cycles and whatever, and he was taking more risks, and that's when he was playing his best hockey of the season. And
it was during the Alberta road trip.
It was really encouraging, because I thought that was his turning point, but he's kind of just reverted back to what it was like before. And I'm hoping something about the playoffs is going to kind of turn that around, but we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, I do want to move on from like individual players. Oh wait, were you doing something there, George?
I think I was going where you were going, so go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of want to move away from individual players and kind of want to get into, although we didn't really talk about Lawton that much, I don't think there's too much to say there. I think he's been struggling to find his goal.
I think he's been good on the penalty kill. He's been effective defensively. That's not what you got him for, though. So
I don't know if it's more of him struggling or if it's more the team struggling to figure out what's this guy's use for us.
He hasn't had a consistent role.
Was this not our concern the entire trade deadline period, where we were like, hey, this guy does not play center, you need a center? And what have we seen in the first 2 weeks of Scott Lawton on the Leafs? He's already, like, they played him at center for a few games, and they moved off of him. He's been demoted to fourth line center a couple times in games.
The thing I'd say with Lawton is that they haven't given him a stretch of hockey where he's played with like one line.
Yeah,
like
that's also true.
They mix and match. Like when someone comes in, you need a little bit of continuity to get them like settled in. And he came in and I think he played one game with Nylander and Yarncroke, if I'm not wrong. He played another game with Domi and McMahon, and the lines never stayed the same.
It's different every game.
You have to give him a bit of a chance here to get comfortable.
And then even in game, like, I've noticed a lot the past couple of weeks ever since they got Lawton that second line with Nylander and Tavares, the winger's been different, and it's different on, like, not every game. It's different like every other shift. They'll be running Lawton out there. They'll be running Domi. They'll be running Yarncroke. McMahon last game.
McMahon's looked the best with that line.
For sure.
McMahon's looked the best. But needless to say, they run like somebody different like every other shift there. And it's like, I understand you're trying to find a chemistry or something, but giving these guys like 1 or 2 shifts a game out of line is not it's not going to work.
I've seen a lot of
especially
people
with Lawton, who's brand new to the team.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people say that getting Max Pacioretty back off the IR might solve this issue. I'm not, like, it kind of seems like that's what the plan is, though, if you have Holmberg as a placeholder up there. But I don't know. Max Pacioretty doesn't move me.
Because they keep, like, the thing that frustrates me is I don't think Holmberg is that useful.
No, especially not in the top 6.
Stop looking at me like that, sub. Holmberg is not good enough.
No, he's not.
I'd rather camp in this lineup, and I don't know why Camp and Yarncroke have been the healthy scratch. When listen, Yarncroke, he hasn't been unreal.
No,
He's
but
been good, man. I don't know. I think he's good.
He's been good.
he's been good.
I think he's not been. Listen, he's been good. I don't think he's. I think there's still more there, but you have to give him a little bit of a break because he's been out all year.
Yeah, he's missed.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not gonna jump in and be yourself.
I think Yarncroke's looked good on the penalty kill. And I think he's like been making plays.
He's got a goal too.
Oh yeah, he
Me
does.
personally, I cannot complain about what Cal Yarncroke has done since coming back. I
Which
think
is
he's
why
been
I'm
exactly.
so frustrated. I'm so frustrated with them scratching Camp and Yarncroke every game when Holmberg has done nothing to really
That is,
earn the spot.
I don't quite understand it. Even though like I am a Pontus Holmberg believer till the day I die. There's better options, man. I'm sorry. Like
you don't need him on the penalty kill anymore.
No,
you have
don't.
so many
There's
Yeah.
no reason why Cal Yarncroke should not be playing over Like they played the exact same role. Cal Yarncroke is a better scoring touch, better on the PK. I'm sorry, this isn't a debate. He should not. Pontus Holmberg should not really be in the lineup right now.
All this being said, I think the obvious solution then is Scott Lawton as the second line left wing. Is that not?
Yeah.
What?
Well, the problem
maybe.
I have with that is that then we're stuck again with that Domi as your third line center with Robertson, and then whoever you want to put on that wing. And listen, we've been productive.
Yeah.
But I am still very scared of that defensive game because I don't think they're good enough to put them out there in the playoffs. And if you get hand in your own zone, that's a killer, man. I don't trust them.
That line has looked improved defensively when they've played together.
They're getting better,
I agree.
and they played together so much this year. Like it's like you got to figure it out now or split it up.
I just don't think it's good enough, though.
It's
Like,
not,
I think
it's not.
They still scare me.
The Leafs lineup right now feels like it's like that gif of like the 3 buttons and you turn 2 on but one of
One
them always
switch
turns
turns
off
off,
and you
yeah.
can't like get it right.
Yeah.
That especially with like the third line, that's just what it's felt like the whole year. It's like you get a really good third line that can score but they can't defend, and then you get a decent third line defensively or something, but then
But they're a black hole offensively.
they're a black hole offensively, or like you get a balanced third line but then the top 6 can't score. Like
Yeah,
the top
yeah.
6 is struggling and you have to
Yeah.
get somebody from that third line and move them up to the top
You know
6.
you know what pisses me off
pain.
with all this line juggling and all the different lineups we have this year. Why has Nick Robertson never been on the wing of Tavares and Nylander? Why have we not tried that
Fair point,
once?
I guess. I don't
Like
know.
is Nick Robertson not like his play style and his skill set is it not of a top 6 forward?
Maybe he's not trusted, but I find the
And
way
Pontus
Nick
Holmberg
Robertson's-
is like, what are we doing?
I think Pontus Holmberg can be trusted better. He's just a complete black
he's
hole.
Not he's not mistake prone. Like I think Robertson, we still see it's like listen, he's done a lot better. I've really loved
Yeah.
his game with defensively. He's been solid. I think he still pitches in every once in a while with a goal, but I think you saw what he did against Calgary with those 2 penalties. That
Oh yeah, those
and
yeah.
I don't know if Berube fully trusts Robertson.
That's what I was
yet
gonna
to
say.
really be-
I don't know if he can. I don't know if Berube. And it was the same thing with Keefe. Like it's like this isn't a guy that they can find to really trust with more minutes in the top 6.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get that sentiment. What just pisses me off about it, though, is I guess we'll just run Pontus Holmberg out there till the end of time.
I think the issue
Just try
is
something,
that Pontus
man.
Holmberg is like the safest choice possible. Is it the best choice?
He does
Probably
nothing,
not,
man.
but it's the safest
I'd rather
choice.
Yarncroke up there.
I'd rather Yarncroke too, honestly. Like Yarncroke is also
Yeah.
looked pretty good on that line too. Although I do agree, I think McMahon is the best on that line.
But then it's back to that thing you were saying with the 3 switches. You put McMahon up there, then who the fuck's on the third line?
That's what I'm saying,
Holmberg.
and then you got a third line of like Lawton, Domi, and Holmberg. Like
Yarncroke.
or Robertson.
Robertson.
Like Lawton, Robertson, Domi.
I think we saw Domi on the wing with Lawton as the center, and they didn't give it enough of a run. But when we did see it, it did not look very good. I think I'm still really holding out hope that they decide to spread the talent out a little bit. Like they had 1 game with it, and they just like kind of reverted.
They
back.
scrapped. They
And
didn't
I
even.
really wanna see
They didn't even commit to the
Nyes,
full game
Matthews,
with it.
Domi then. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like you gotta. You can't. Why is it that every single lineup that they win some games, but they still don't look good? They're like, all right, whatever, we won. And then the second that you try something new, it's obviously not going to stick immediately because they haven't done it all yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do they just immediately revert back to what There's a
think-
reason why you switched it.
I
Like,
think-
why did you revert back to it?
I think the issue now is that they didn't do enough of this experimentation during the year because everybody was injured, and now you're in probably the tightest division race they've ever been in this era.
Well, I want to talk
For
about
sure.
that
You
now
have to
'cause
you
it's
have to
tight.
win every game that you play, and it's like it feels like they don't want to take risks right now because of how intense every game is and how important every game is if winning the division is something that they want to do.
Do you guys want the?
Well, I do want to talk about the division. Sorry, what were you
I was
saying?
just gonna see if you guys wanted the lines from Morning Skate.
Sure.
Well, I believe it's the same lineup that they ran against New York.
It is
see
with top six, what you'd expect: McMahon, Tavares, Nylander. And then the third line: Holmberg, Domi, Robertson. Fourth line is Lawton, Camp, Florence, and Yarncroke's the scratch. So, like,
I think as a society we've progressed past the need for David Camp.
especially when you have Lawton signed for next year at $1.5
Yeah.
million and Camp is 2.4.
Which is fine, but like I'd rather Camp as your fourth line center and then just scratch Holmberg and play Yarncroke.
Yeah,
also true.
yeah.
The lineup is like
I don't-
they have better options available. And I don't understand why they're so hesitant to. Like, what is David Camp doing wrong? He's playing his game.
He's
Like,
not.
gonna
Yeah,
score that
he's not
often.
really.
Like,
I'm
he's
just
playing
saying.
defensively.
I'm saying we've progressed past the need for him because we have Scott Lawton cheaper, and like I mean, I don't know. I think this offseason Camp is like probably as good as gone just as a cat casualty.
Yeah, for
unfortunately.
now I'm happy with Camp. For till the end of the season and playoffs,
I've never like
he's doing
hated
good.
David Camp, but I
Yeah.
found he's like a tiny bit overpaid, which like
For sure.
normally wouldn't be a huge deal, but with the way the Caps looking next season with this team and Matthew Nyes, like we have, I do whatever you can to get Matthew Nyes signed, but I'm kind of scared on
And
what
and
those contract
we
negotiations.
can't go
are
into
gonna
another
be.
season with Max Domi as the third line center. Give me Sam Bennett.
No, don't give me Sam Bennett.
Don't give me Sam
Whoever-
Bennett at $7 million,
someone's gonna pay
please.
That guy like $8 million and see one of the worst contracts.
Yeah,
He's never
you're
scored
right.
50 points.
That's big David Backus energy.
Yep.
Okay. I want to move on to the division race.
Yep.
We briefly touched on it there. But right now, as it sits going into the game tonight, the Leafs are tied on points and point percentage with the Florida Panthers at 87 points, 369 games played. Tampa is right behind them with 85 points
This
and
is
68 games played.
Messed up.
And it's really tight. And I mean, I don't think you're like before, kind of like when the Leafs were tanking a little bit, it looked like Ottawa might have been able to kind of make it a little bit tight with them and flip into the. But
I don't see
The
it.
issue is
And
like
it's
people
not,
people will look at like a 4-point difference right now in the playoff race, and it's like, oh, that's pretty close, 4 points, and it's like it's not at this point in the season.
No.
4 points, you're banking on a good team to lose 2 games and for you to win 2 games just to make up the difference, and then you have to get past that. That's why when the Leafs, we never ended up talking about it because we didn't do a pod, but when the Leafs dropped that game to Florida a couple weeks ago, I was like, that makes winning this division even harder. That was
Yeah.
such an important
That
game
that,
to
that felt
win.
like the end of the world, man.
They
do play them 2 more times.
Yeah.
It still makes it more difficult though. because
It's funny,
now
though.
Sorry, you go.
I was just gonna say because after that Florida game, that felt like the end of the world because I think Florida was up to, what were they at 87? No, they were at 85 points at that point, I think, and
Florida really struggled around the same time the Leafs struggled. Like,
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they
still
really
still are.
struggled right now.
Like, they were bad, man. I think they were like 1-3-1, and I don't think a lot of people really noticed it because the Leafs were playing so poorly, so it wasn't like we're taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating.
I
I feel
think-
like every time that happens, the Leafs like
Yeah.
tank and they can't win a game.
I
but-
think everybody was focusing in on the Leafs because they were the ones who kind of choked that division lead, and then Florida first in the division, but they were also tumbling a little bit too. And I know they won that game against Columbus, but it was what like
It's only one
it was
nothing
it was like a 1-0. It was overtime, I think. Not sure.
And it's not
Yeah,
like
it was
Tampa's
overtime.
out of the conversation either because he's
Tampa's not out of it.
No,
Dude,
they're right
yeah,
there, man.
they
dude,
got the
win
game in
that-
hand.
They win that game. They win that game. It's a 3-way tie for first in the
yeah.
division.
Of course, they'd
This
still be
this is
third.
ridiculous. It's insane.
Would they?
Who do you guys think is gonna win the division?
I have no idea. And the craziest
I think
part
I put
is
predictions in the chat,
the
our group chat.
the craziest part is that this comes down to like this could come down to tiebreakers. And
It will. It might
even the
probably.
tiebreakers are so tight. Florida has one more regulation win than the Leafs and Tampa.
I
Leafs and
think-
Tampa are both at 34. Tampa's at 35.
but the
Leafs
interesting
have
thing
more
is-
regulation and overtime wins. But
I think differential's the first tiebreaker though, isn't it?
No. It's regulation and overtime winner.
Because wouldn't
I think after that it goes to differential.
because Florida has 35. That's right. I thought it was. Oh yeah, it is regulation wins because
No,
I thought it was
think- I believe
overall
it's
wins.
Regulation win is the first one. Regulation overtime win is the next one, and then I think after that.
Then it's goal differential. Okay. Because if it gets to differential, the Leafs are fucked. Theirs is like nowhere close to
goal
it.
differential.
I
was
want,
great, but-
I want predictions out of both of you. We're just gonna rip a prediction right now.
For this division?
I want,
Of who's Leafs?
Oh, I don't know. They have the exact same record. I don't know. Fuck.
pick one.
Leafs.
I'm going Tampa.
You
I'm
suck.
going Tampa.
Pessimist.
Trying to be different.
Well, no, I'll tell you guys why, but Jacob, go.
Okay, I'm gonna be evil Mateo here and be optimistic. I think the Leafs are winning it.
I said Leafs first,
Okay.
so he's copying me.
I didn't hear you.
So here's
Oh,
why.
well.
Here's why I think Tampa will
I did.
be the division winner, and it's just I think it's hard for me to put faith in the Leafs to have like a long run here, just because they've been so streaky. So I'll believe like. Listen, I'm not saying they're out of it. I still think there's a solid chance that they win this division. And the reason why I didn't pick Florida is because of the 3 big injuries they have that are going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Ekblad and Marchand.
Suspension, and Marchand is out until playoffs, we think. So I just don't know if they have the horses right now to go out and win this division. And Tampa has been red hot for a while now. Like, they don't lose hockey games.
Yeah, it's
aside
bad.
from Boston, like, they look great, and I do think that they'll win their game in hand, and I eventually think they will overtake it. And the other thing is that one of Florida and Tampa will probably drop out of the race because of the 2 games that they played against each other, because you're guaranteeing that those teams are going to drop points against each other.
And we're also
I think
playing.
Tampa overtakes it.
We're also playing 2 games against Florida, which like, my issue is that they're such big games that like, are the Leafs gonna show up?
Leafs showing up in a big
That is my
game.
issue.
No.
I'm gonna be a goddamn. I'm making my stand, and I'm gonna be a goddamn optimist. They're doing it. They're gonna win at least one of those games.
I think they're gonna find a way because the Leafs, especially of this year, I feel like they have a pattern of fucking it up once and then figuring it out later. So you lose the
Yeah.
most important game of the season this far against Florida. You fucked it up once, now figure it out later. And you got 2 more
I do
chances.
agree.
Okay, so, and I mean, listen, winning the division is so important this year because if you go into the playoffs, if you don't win the division, then you have to beat one of Tampa. You have to beat both Tampa or Florida unless there's an upset in the first round.
Yep.
And as we get closer to the playoffs, if you want to start talking about who do you guys think the game 1 starter is right now? And
I have my
think me and
answer.
Seb have talked about it,
Yep,
and I
I
think we
have
have the
my
same answer. Jacob, do you want to go first with your answer?
Yeah, it's Joseph Wool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay, so
Joseph
all three of
Wool.
us agree.
Yeah.
I wish that one of us disagreed to have a little bit of an argument, but
It's
it is
Anthony
Joseph Wool.
Stollers.
Dennis Hildeby.
Stollers has oh my, Matt Murray. He has a
Yo,
playoff experience.
yep.
I want
Back-to-back
Iguodala.
experience.
Yeah.
I want Iguodala.
Yeah, I want Iguodala. Listen, the thing is with Wool is I think he has seen him show up in clutch moments in the playoffs
Yeah.
before, and he hasn't had like a large amount of playoff experience, but he does have a lot where he's shown up and he's played really well.
Yeah.
And I also think me and Seb were talking about this the other day, but I think even the regular season, although it's like a lot of high leverage situations where you really need to save,
Yeah.
like penalty kill late in the game, he shows up and he gives you a big save, and
Yeah.
I think. Wool is my playoff starter. I think Stolarz has kind of fallen back to earth a little bit ever since that injury, and I still think he's playing well. I just think that we haven't seen him be as dominant as he was before, which I think I kind of expected. I didn't think he'd be at the same level. I think it was kind
Dude.
of unfair to expect him to play at that
That
level.
guy
for
was
the rest of the
top
year.
Yeah.
of the league in save percentage
Yeah.
for like a solid, I'd say 60% of the season.
Yeah, he's been great, and honestly, my mind could change. Like if Wool is cold and Stolarz is hot, and going into the playoffs, go Stolarz. And like the great thing about the tandem that we have right now is that if one game goes bad for one of them, you just go to the other guy.
Well, you know what? That does kind of scare me because I think when you get in the playoff series, flip-flopping is a little bit difficult.
It is, but it's like if you lose confidence in
does
one guy,
scare
you
me a
do
little
have another
Yeah.
option, right?
No, I like them both.
Yeah,
Listen, if
yeah.
I don't think I would be outraged if they went the other way and made
No,
Stolarz a
no.
game 1 starter. Obviously, there's a lot of hockey left to be played. I think they still have another, what it would have been 13 games after, or 12 games after tonight. So there's still a lot of
Damn.
hockey. I think you maybe split the starts and see whoever takes advantage of it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's Wool.
Yeah, for me, Joseph Wool. He's the guy. Like he's the only reason they went to 7 last season. Let's be real
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
If Joseph
Still
Wool,
on his
if Ilya Samsonov was in the net, that series is done in 5. He's the only reason they went to 7. He was great in the 2023 playoffs when they played Florida. Yeah, I don't know. This
Sam
is just a
Farber.
guy. He has like we've talked about it on the podcast before. Funny enough, with like Martin Jones when he was on the Leafs, with how like he'd maybe let in 3 or 4 goals a game, but the second he needed to come up big and the second you needed to hold on to a lead, that guy you couldn't beat him. And Joseph Wool has that same kind of gene, but he's better.
Yeah.
Whenever they need a win or whenever they need to shut it down, he's just so calm in the net. He finds a way to make these saves that are just like, how did your body do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, and then you combine the recent play of them both. Joseph Wool, I think, has been better, and Joseph Wool, I think, like, didn't have a break in January when Stolarz was out. Like, this guy literally did not take a break for the entire month. He was just playing like every game. I think he's at this point more dependable than Stolarz right now. I don't know.
The injury stuff still does scare me though a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, just because it's
a little
happened
bit,
before,
but
so it's kind of a little bit of a scar
I
tissue,
think
but, like, I mean, I don't
the
know.
luxury you have now is that it's not Ilya Samsonov as your backup. It's not Garrett
Yeah.
Sparks, not Michael Hutchinson.
Oh
as
my
your backup.
God.
You have Anthony Stolarz as your worst case scenario.
Yeah, there's not one guy that's good and shows up every time, and one guy who's like might have a good game or might let in 30 goals on 2 shots.
Or might let in a shot from the hash marks from Hampus Lindholm.
Hey, speaking of letting in a lot of goals on not a lot of shots, the Rangers currently lead the Canucks 3-2 with 10 shots on goal, and the Canucks have 30 shots. And here's the most interesting part: there's 6 minutes left in the third.
Andre Miller scored. That was the most interesting.
No, I was gonna.
part.
Hey, you fucking interrupted me. You fucking interrupted. Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, so
Yo, can we talk about the sniper Ryan Graves?
can we talk about the thing I'm about to say?
Can we not talk about? Can we focus on the Leafs? Alright.
I was just gonna say,
Seb,
hey,
shut up.
this game's kind of interesting. The Canucks scored, and then a minute later, the Rangers took the lead back, and there's like 5 minutes left. So, wow.
Yeah.
Doing their best Leafs of 2 weeks ago impression.
I was just saying because Andre Miller has fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be good, and he's been just really
Brutal.
struggling this year. And Buffalo is also down 3-0 with Terry Pagula in the GM box. besides the
Hey,
Canucks.
nice.
So yeah.
Well,
I
he
don't
can't
know.
get
That's not an
fired.
interesting thing. Well, no. I mean, they're best buddies. That's why he got the job in the first
Yeah.
place.
No, I'm saying
God.
Terry Bagula can't be
Oh,
fired.
Terry Pagula, yeah. I think it was Kevin Adams.
Be fired into the sun.
Listen. I think we've kind of said what we had to say about the starters. If you guys want to move on to the general,
Let's do
comments, there's not really much else to say. So there's a few things I do want to focus on the wild. Stay within the playoffs first and focus on the wild card race in both the East and the West. I kind of want to start with Columbus because they have kind of fallen off here a little bit. It's been sad, kind of sad because they've been such a great story, especially after the tragedy of Drew Joe passing before the season, and no one expected them to be even close to the playoffs.
No.
I don't think, but you've got in some great performances out of Zach Werenski.
Marchenko,
very,
dude.
very good, man. Very good.
Holy- probably the most
Ken
underrated.
Johnson has taken a step. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of progression with that.
And
team,
give some
it's
love to
been
Dmitry
insane.
Voronkov, who's having a good season.
Rokov, yeah. Give some love to Adam Fantilli.
Oh
recently.
yeah, he's been great since
with
Monahan
Blue
went
Jenner
down.
being out, and I think even Kent Johnson was out for a time as well. Adam
Yeah.
Fantilli's played really. There's been a lot of rookies this year where their game has just like progressed like crazy this season. Will Smith,
Yeah,
one of
I-
them. Cutter Gauthier, another.
Yeah. I'm glad it's kind of gone, that we've kind of moved it into this direction instead of kind of focus on the fall, because I do think a lot of people, including myself, I tweeted how it's kind of sad to see them fall off here a little bit. I think they're like 5-1 in their last 6,
They
and
did-
they've scored 6
Dude.
goals in their last 7.
Yeah.
They did not
But
expect to
their
make the
season has been-
playoffs.
Their season has been sensational, and
Yeah.
like I said in the tweet, it's not a bad season if they miss, because I think they've exceeded expectations
Yeah,
so hard.
like-
And sometimes you just run out of gas. Like, if you don't have the horses, you don't have the horses. And
Dude.
I think that's what we're seeing right now. But it's okay. They've had a great year.
They this is not a team that was like supposed to be anywhere close to what they
Yeah.
are right now. They've had, like we talked. Oh,
You okay?
sorry.
Hello.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. I thought I accidentally just left the call. I just closed the tab and I was like, "Oh, did I just leave?" Sorry. No, yeah, they've had like, I wish. No, they've had some crazy performances this year, dude. Like you just mentioned, Kirill Marchenko is like one of the most underrated players in the league, probably.
For sure. And they love scoring on Dennis Hillary.
Zach Rowensky should
should
be
be
on
on
a Norris
Norris ballots, man.
Yeah,
Oh
he
my
should be on
God.
a Norris nomination at least. Yeah, man, they've been great. I think once they get probably a goalie figured out, because I don't think
man, they've been
Merzlikins is.
awful all
I don't think
year.
Merzlikins is that guy. Tarasov seemed
No.
like he could be the guy of the future, but the past
Well,
couple
one
of years he
of the storylines
hasn't.
before the season with Columbus, I mean, it got overshadowed. I mean, rightfully so, because of how sad the offseason ended up being for them. I remember when Don Waddell was it? Yeah, Don Waddell is the GM.
Yeah.
Or am I? Yeah, he went in there. They were talking about Merzlikins requested a trade, and he told the media, "Trust me, I tried to trade your contract. Nobody wants that."
That's awful.
That was one of the biggest. That was one of the funniest stories for me. Like, you never see a GM say, "I tried to trade you. Nobody wants." And they've gone into the season. I think it's kind of gone how everyone expected. Like, that goaltending tandem has really struggled, and they've still been finding ways to win games. And I listen. It doesn't look too good. Like, they played one more game than Montreal, and they're 3 points back. And they're a point back of the Islanders, and the Islanders have a game in hand on them. So I don't think we'll see them in the playoffs this year. But I mean, it was a great season. And
Also,
um,
sorry, one more thing to mention. We completely glossed over Sean Monahan. Before
Oh,
the
yeah,
Red
yeah,
Wings
yeah.
was having an
Yeah, he was
amazing,
unbelievable. Yeah.
season.
it
Like,
was a point per game, I think. Or
yeah,
close
40,
to it.
41
Like,
points in 41 games. And
Yeah.
that's who I was thinking of. Adam Fantilli has been playing in Sean Monahan's spot and has pretty much been like a point per game player ever since taking over on that top
they've
line.
got a really bright future. I'm really looking forward to this team.
I'm
They've
so
got
excited for them.
man.
They're,
I'm really happy for them that Ken Johnson has finally taken his
Yeah.
step. He was
Yes, that
really
too.
highly touted when they drafted him, and they've been kind of waiting around, and they've really struggled developing prospects. Like, that's one thing you can say about Columbus is that they are not good at developing their highly touted prospects. Like, they traded one of them in David Juracek to Minnesota early in the season, and it's
Forgot about
not
that.
really worked out for them.
now Juracek isn't even really working out in Minnesota either, though. To be fair, he's getting
Yeah,
scratched like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the thing is that when your development is kind of messed up at an early age, it's kind of a domino effect. And
It's
hard
to come back.
Yeah, we'll see what your trick looks like next year. I think one day he has a full off season with the Minnesota development teams and everything like that. But I do want to stay within the Eastern Conference though and talk about the rest of the wildcard race. And
Yes.
to move on from Columbus, I'm happy with how that, like I said, the direction went with that instead of the negative. It focused more on the positives. But it's a little bit of a tight race here for the second wildcard spot. I think Ottawa is pretty much a lock to take that first wildcard
Yeah.
spot. I highly doubt anyone catches them unless they kind of go on a nosedive here, which it's the Ottawa Senators, so you never really know. But, yeah, I think it's kind of a three-horse race right now for the second wildcard spot. Montreal currently sitting in the second wildcard spot with 74 points in 68 games.
Hey,
The Islanders have been on a heater ever since trading Brock Nelson, and they are up to 72 points in 68 games, so just 2 points back of Montreal, which is very doable, especially with how young the Habs are. Like, we could see them drop a couple of games here, and that, like, and then also the Rangers. We just talked about how they're winning today. That would be a big win for them. They've played more games than anybody else.
Yeah,
in the
they've,
wildcard race, but they are still close. Like, it's not. And then obviously Detroit's like just behind Columbus. And
The Canucks tied it again.
Less points than Montreal.
Yeah, it started. Canucks tied. It's 3-3.
Well, welcome to New York Rangers hockey this year. It's been really tough to watch.
passing
and
around that lead like it's a hot potato.
I know, man. It's been bad. But also Detroit is sort of there.
Nah, they're 2-8
I
in
don't
their
see
last
them
10,
making
man.
it
They're
anymore,
cooked.
Man. They that coach bump
they've
wore
been
off.
really bad.
Coach bump wore off.
Yeah.
The
And that's what everyone was so excited about Detroit. I'm like, you have to wait.
It's just a
because
coach
you know
bump.
it's
the March fall off
coach
is so
bump.
much harder than the coach bump, man. It just like takes over.
I mean, it's both, man. But yeah, I mean, do you guys think the wildcard stays the same as it is right now with
I
Ottawa in the 1 and Montreal in the 2?
I think Montreal's been too hot. This hot streak's really kind of propelled them, and now they're like I was just talking about earlier, man. Points are hard to make up right now. When you're at a deficit, every game is so important, and Montreal, man, they've been the hottest team in the NHL. Like, if we're being honest, they've probably been the hottest team in the
Yeah,
league
they've
over
been
the
good.
past at least like month. They've absolutely sickens me to say it, but I think
Oh, yeah.
Montreal's got that second wild card
They have
locked
a
up.
really tough game tonight against Colorado, so we'll see how that goes.
Colorado-
I don't think that.
Yeah,
They're coming off a second half of a back-to-back, but no, they're not, because there's only one game on last night. It was Pittsburgh, but the last Pittsburgh Columbus, but the last last game they played, they like picked apart Ottawa after losing to the Leafs. Where I still think they kind of outplayed us. I think. I mean, we already talked about that game, so we don't need to go back over it. But it'll be a tough game tonight. The Islanders aren't in. Oh, they are. They're playing against Calgary, another team who's fighting for their lives in the playoffs, playing in the Western Conference.
Yep.
So there's some really big games on today.
Both wildcard races have been crazy.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun to track.
Yeah.
Oh, the Rangers just took the lead back.
No,
Jesus
oh my
Christ,
God,
man.
you make me leave the podcast and turn this game on, man. Holy.
I know.
Yeah, I think it stays the same too. Ottawa's got that first spot locked up. I would be shocked if they lost it. And Montreal, yeah, like Seb said, they've been hot. I don't see the Islanders, like even if they have been hot too, I don't think they'll keep this going. And I believed in the New York Rangers for a very, very long time. I no longer believe in the New York Rangers. They're cooked. They're terrible. They're awful. They need to do. I don't know what they need to do. They're just bad.
Well, the problem is with them is they've played too many games.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Be in that race, like when you have when people have 2 games at hand on you in the NHL, it's kind of especially
this late.
Like they're going up against the Islanders are red hot.
Yeah.
Montreal is red hot. And the thing is with Montreal, even when they lose, they pick up points because they lose in overtime.
They've been losing in overtime a lot.
Yeah, like they're 6-1-3 in their last 10, so they're picking up 3 points in a loss in like 3 of their losses. So that's still big. And listen, for these teams, like if this was the Leafs, we were looking 3 overtime losses. It's kind of like you kind of need to close it out in regulation a little bit. Like you can't 3-on-3 isn't in the playoffs. But for these teams, we're just trying to make.
You just need points.
Like you pick up points everywhere you can get it. And I tend to agree that I think the playoff race will kind of stay the same here. I don't see it where there would be much movement. Listen, these teams like Ottawa, both Ottawa and Montreal are young. I really don't see Ottawa falling off, but Montreal especially is young, so we could definitely see a little bit of a cold streak coming where they drop maybe 5, and then they fall out of it. But I mean, they're red hot right now.
I think the biggest thing right now as to why I think Montreal is probably staying in the playoffs right now is because they don't really have any games against these teams now in this race. The last team was the Islanders, and they lost in overtime, but after this, I mean, there's Detroit that they have a game against, but I don't think Detroit's really in this anymore.
Yeah.
Boston's not really in it. They have a game against Ottawa, but Ottawa's not in this race for the second wild card either. If there was
that could get tight. They're only 3 points out on Ottawa, so if Ottawa drops the game and Montreal picks up a point, that could be a race
I mean
for first
that's
round.
true.
That's true.
If Ottawa gets that game again, or if Montreal gets the game against Ottawa, we could see them playing the Leafs in the first round if the Leafs win the division.
Would it be fun if we had Leafs Canadians round 1 again?
No.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Fuck no. Absolutely
You know
not.
what? I have an article coming. I have an article coming out where I ranked like where I'd want each opponent for the Leafs, like who I think it would be the best matchup. So, I did everyone who was like relatively close to the playoff hunt. So Detroit wasn't included. So I think I went Detroit 1. The Islander my most favorable matchups. Detroit 1 because I think nothing about Detroit scares me. I think I went Islanders 2. Because I don't think that roster's enough, although Sorokin does scare me. I went Montreal 3.
That's fair. Because, I mean, when we lost to Montreal in 2021, well, first of all, very different team. And also, we just got Carey Priced. Like, there's no Carey Price this time. Give me Sam Montembeault 10 days out of 10.
What happened to Philip Deneau shut down Matthews.
Yeah.
They don't have a player like Deneau anymore.
I mean, Nick Suzuki.
The closest thing they have is Jake Evans.
Can I raise an interesting point for you guys?
What?
Trauma.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's why no matchup excites me. Like, there's not one single team in the entire National Hockey League where I would go, yeah, give me that. Okay, here's the problem, though. I'm getting that delusional feeling again. It's something about the spring air. It's March. It's getting warmer. They're playing meaningful games. It's like, oh, I'm excited. I'm like all pumped up now. I'm like, yeah, I believe in this team now. Why? What's wrong with me?
I just realized that Montreal.
I didn't make fun of for being pessimistic, but every time I'm pessimistic, I'm right.
Yeah, it's true. You're right. You're right.
I'm just right.
Yeah, because I'm optimistic. Then I get let down.
I think my day is ruined now that I just came upon the realization that it's actually a very real possibility that the Leafs could play Montreal.
And so
I am disappointed to say the least.
I had Montreal 3, I had New York 4, and then I had Ottawa as 5. And Ottawa, I'm not gonna lie, Ottawa scares me, man.
Yo, can I just...
Leafs aren't beating the
something out quick?
Senators. Leafs are getting swept by the Senators if they play them.
Yo, Washington has a plus 73 goal differential.
Yeah,
I
they're
know.
crazy.
I know, it's
Holy
crazy.
shit.
I saw they clinched the playoffs. I think I saw that this morning. I'm like, what the fuck?
My
There's only a couple teams that have clinched and a couple teams who have been eliminated since we last recorded. Washington and Winnipeg have clinched the playoffs.
Did Winnipeg
and I
clinch?
think they did. Oh, sorry, no. You know what? They're a point away from clinching.
Oh, okay. So they will.
And San Jose and Chicago have been eliminated from the playoffs.
Shockingly.
Race. Big surprise. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, we could probably move on from the East now. I think we've kind of talked through that. Actually, you know what? One more thing. I want you guys to pick the matchup you want the most in the first round.
Give me Tampa.
What? Over any of the wildcard teams?
I don't know why. I kind of want Tampa.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's who do I think they have the best chance against? Probably Montreal. I think they've played good against Montreal, but I think most realistically, it's honestly I can't really say anything on what the most realistic is going to be because this all really depends on if the Leafs win those 2 games against Florida or not.
Yeah.
That is the deciding factor on if they're winning this division.
Okay, you know what? Give me a divisional matchup, so we'll say Tampa for you, and give me a wild card matchup.
Wild card then Montreal for sure. If we play Ottawa, I'm going to kill myself.
Okay.
But if we play,
Should probably censor that. I don't know if you two would appreciate that language. But
I
okay.
could go ahead.
Okay. So in my mind, there are 4 teams that we could play. It's Florida, Tampa, Ottawa, or Montreal. Out of those 4 teams,
Islanders too,
I'm fine,
Dude, they're
fine,
only 2 points back.
fine. Sure, the Islanders too. I'm gonna say though. Okay, yeah, it's the New York Islanders is the one I'd most like to play in the wild card in the division. Tampa.
Okay, yeah, I think I got the same picks as Jacob there. The only thing that scares me about the Islanders is Sorokin, but if Sorokin catches fire in a 7-game series, it's gonna be really difficult to win that series.
Oh, but okay, we can't base this entirely off of hockey though. If it was based entirely off of hockey, it'd be Montreal. And there's with the New York Islanders, there's the John Tavares thing. Is that not some sort of curse?
Oh
my
no,
God.
Tavares! Oh no. Dude, going to Long Island for a playoff game, Leafs versus Islanders.
By the way, that would be a great series. That would be a fantastic series.
Great series,
Dude,
but
I can
like
see it now.
you
Game
need
6, Long Island, we're down 3-2 in the series. Fucking whoever the fuck scores in overtime and Tavares is on the ice in front of the net. I can see it now.
Oh my God.
Almost a Leafs
Oh
thing
my
ever,
God.
man.
Dude, you need to hire security for John Tavares if that series were to happen.
I don't know if you could dress him in Long Island. Bro.
No, like
Okay.
That being said, give me Montreal.
Okay. Moving into the West now. This wildcard race is a little bit, I think, a little bit more condensed. I think Minnesota's a tough team because they've really fallen off here recently, but they have racked up the points already to the point where I think they're safe. I doubt that they follow any of the wildcard spots.
6-point lead.
Yeah,
They got that on
and
lock.
They've only played more games than Calgary. They've played the same amount. St. Louis is currently sitting in the second wildcard spot solely based off points. Based off points percentage, Calgary and Vancouver would both be ahead.
0.001%.
Yeah. It's tough for me here because I think St. Louis has played. I don't know. Games at hand is so tough.
Yeah.
And in this side of the bracket, because I don't think anyone's really hot in the Western Conference right now.
Well, St. Louis is.
Well, okay, yeah. St. Louis would be the hot team. I'm saying anyone who has games at hand.
Okay.
Vancouver just dropped their game against the
Yeah.
Rangers, which is a huge loss for them because they're trying to keep pace with St. Louis. And the Blues are playing against Chicago today, so that should be a win.
Should be an easy.
Yeah, and Calgary playing against the Islanders, we've already discussed the Islanders fighting for their lives in that wildcard spot. So, just some big games here. Who do you guys think is going to be the 2 wildcard spots?
I think Minnesota keeps that first one, like you guys said.
Yeah.
I really want Calgary to make it. I'm always rooting for Canadian teams.
Wolf agenda.
Oh my God, yeah,
He is a
yeah.
builder. He is the Calder winner.
He should be a Vezina nominee,
Calder
dude.
winner.
He's great.
He should be a Vezina nominee. He is the Calder this year.
Yeah,
Carrying
yeah.
This dog
Yeah.
Padre team into the playoff race. He is the Calder, and you're not looking at the camera because you.
We'd be
know.
talking about Michael Misa on the Flames if Dustin Wolf was not playing for that team right now.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
It's hard for me to argue at this point in the year.
Seb,
What?
Seb,
I
how many
can't
points
argue
does Calgary's
really
leader
against-
have? Do you know?
Yeah,
It's like
I
45.
think it's
It's
Jonathan
sad.
Huberdeau,
He has like 45 points.
something like that.
It's
But-
bad. They suck.
No, I was gonna say it is hard to argue at this point, like who the Calder winner should be. I think Dustin Wolf, like, it's undeniable what he's done this year. I agree with everything you guys are saying, that like this dude has just completely backstopped. Like, Calgary is nothing, and there's no exaggeration to this. Calgary is nothing without Dustin Wolf this season.
Listen to this.
But
The
I think
Calgary
this is-
leader is Jonathan Huberdeau with 52 points. Right behind him, Calgary with 51, and then there's a big drop off to Mackenzie Weeder in third with 41 points. And then it's Coronado with 35.
I think-
Coronado.
I think the issue you get this year, though, is that this is one of the most like stacked rookie classes we've had
Yeah.
in forever. Lane Hudson is like breaking Habs records as a defenseman.
Yeah.
Macklin
Ass.
Celebrini is like having arguably a better rookie season than
Jade
what
Turner 2.0.
like
Shane Goss
on-
despair.
yeah, like. Oh, I can't believe I just praised Lane Hudson on this podcast,
Yeah.
dude. What am I doing?
Sorry, we got a little distracted here.
I agree.
What happened
Yeah.
to me?
Listen, I agree. Hudson, what he's doing is so impressive, and I do think that he should be getting love. I just
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
What Wolf is doing with this Calgary team is something that we haven't seen, and I think Celebrini, Hudson, and Wolf would all three of them would be runaway winners in any
different
other-
years, yeah,
yeah,
for
different
sure.
years and runaway winners. And Michkov has been good, but he's kind of fallen off, and he's like it was like a 4-horse race there for a little bit when Michkov was playing really well. So did we say who do you
No, because I
Nope,
mentioned the Flames, then we went off about Dustin Wolf.
I swear we're going
yeah.
outside about Dustin Wolf.
Anyways, yeah, I want the Flames to make it. I love them. I want as many Canadian teams in the playoffs as possible, but it's going to be the St. Louis Blues.
I think it's gonna be Vancouver and Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, I just want to say
I
about
do-
Vancouver. They suck, and they're just the Rangers of the Western Conference.
That's also true. Yeah, they do kind of suck, but I do think it's gonna be them if I'm being real.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It's just my vibes.
fair.
I'm really cheering for my Flames.
My
really hard.
Flames.
My Flames.
My flames.
My Flames. Yeah, it's so hard because I think St. Louis is red hot right now. And I don't know if Calgary has the scoring ability to really push themselves into the second wildcard spot. I'm really struggling with this one because I don't think I've ever had like a solid like. I think this whole time the Eastern Conference have had like a solid feel of what each team is, and in the West it's been so odd. Like I think St. Louis looked really mid and they came out of nowhere.
They
and
just
kind
started
of got
winning.
hot. Yeah, I think Vancouver has been. They felt like they've been the worst team in the league all year, and then you look at the playoff standings and they're like
Pretty
right
solid.
in and around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Calgary, they just seem to pick up points. Like they don't. I don't think I've ever seen like
I
a
don't-
dominant Calgary win.
Like-
I just think they hang around and pick up a point.
Yeah, like how are they in there?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I hate to be the same as Jacob again because I think we have had the same answers on the last couple. I do think it's Minnesota, St. Louis, and I just think I'd go with the hot teams right now.
Yeah.
I don't think Minnesota is bad enough to completely fall off and fall out of it. Like they're gonna pick up another 2 points here against Buffalo unless they have a historic choke in the third period. Because choking a 3-goal lead to Buffalo in the third period would be extremely.
That's
sad.
all time.
Very, very sad.
Definitely a
still
Leaf
3-0.
thing to do.
100%. But yeah, I do think it's gonna be St. Louis, Minnesota. I don't really think there's much else there.
St.
Yep.
Louis, they definitely are easily the hottest team in the race right now. I just think they had a lot of ground to make up with this hot streak, and wildcard teams are tricky sometimes, man. Like they're either, it could really stop at any time.
There's a reason why they're not in the division.
Yeah, I think right now, Vancouver, they just lost, did they?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, they
that
just
might
lost
change
to
my
New York.
answer then, because that was a big game for them to win.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna go? I'm gonna go St. Louis then. It was
Okay.
for me. It was between
Alright.
Vancouver and St. Louis, and I was going Vancouver because they had the points advantage in terms of like games in hand, and but losing that game is pretty big for them. So I'm
I don't
gonna
think
go.
I believe in Vancouver.
I don't really
I-
believe in
I
them
think
either. It was just
I want to believe in Calgary. I just the fact they're scoring is like so.
I don't
like,
know
in
what
a big
Calgary
game
does
when they need
it.
a goal. Like who do they get it from? I don't think they get it from anybody.
They've
so
dropped
I
a few
don't think-
games, and I just think
Yeah.
I think St. Louis has been really hot now to where
Yeah.
now that Vancouver's just dropped that game against New York, I think
I think there's
Say-
the pieces too, man.
I think St. Louis
I
is
think they
gonna.
have the pieces to be a playoff team.
Yeah, man, St. Louis has been weird. They've just been like painstakingly mid. I think Jim Montgomery has been like a revelation there.
Yeah.
Dylan Holloway is like a point per game since Jim Montgomery's taken
Yeah,
over. He's like
and
We
crazy.
still have Kyrou and Thomas there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kyrie
Braden Shen is
Thomas.
staying, and like as much as we thought that deal would have been super for the Leafs, like he is a big part of that team.
Yeah,
The-
and
I wanna
Broberg.
clear the record here. The issue with Braden Shen was never Braden Shen himself.
Yeah.
Like I actually think he probably would have been the best fit. It's
Probably.
the contract that
Yeah.
was just ridiculous to
The
trade for.
contract and the price.
Yeah.
The
Like
contract
it was
and the price.
ridiculous to trade for.
And I also want to say something about Tree Living. I think we have seen that he really did try hard to get a upper echelon center. Like we saw they were far down the road with on Brock Nelson, and Nelson didn't want to play in Canada. I think they had a deal
O'Reilly?
with-
Yeah, we also
was
don't
close
have.
to it.
O'Reilly didn't want to come
I
back.
the
Shen didn't want to waive his
yeah,
move
the Leafs
clause.
also just didn't have the assets too. Like you don't have a Callum Ritchie that you can give the New York Islanders.
Well, I think
I think Easton
listen,
Cowan's like decently close.
Ah, come on, man, Callum
Well, I
Ritchie.
think by all the reports, it seemed like the Leafs were close to deals on a lot of guys, and it just came down to no move clauses and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
and they just couldn't get it past anything. So, I mean, listen, it wasn't for a lack of trying. They were in on listen, we made a lot of jokes about how Treliving doesn't make big moves, but it sounded like he was close.
He was
like,
close
three
on a
different
few.
ones.
He was
I'll
close
give
on
him his
Rantanen,
kudos.
man.
This
Yeah.
deadline cured my Brad Treliving pessimism. I think.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more confident in him like being able to make those moves when they're needed. So
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I just want to say that because I was reading about it, and every single time I see those leaks, I'm like, oh, like whatever. Like, okay, yeah, you tried, but usually it is, oh, they tried and they couldn't get it done. But by like multiple reports, it sounded like they were like really close to Brock Nelson, really close to Braden Shen, tried on O'Reilly. But
like
O'Reilly
Jacob
didn't
said too,
consider it.
Miko freaking ranted
Yeah.
man. Like that's
Yeah, he
crazy.
tried, he
They
tried.
were that close. That
Yeah.
close.
Like that.
Yeah, but anyways, I think we want to move into the expansion talk now. I think I didn't really get the full reports. You guys might need to help me on that. I was a little bit busy over the last few days when those reports came out. I did see it was Atlanta and Houston were the two teams. that
Atlanta,
were-
Yeah.
Houston, yeah.
Do you guys know when they were saying that these teams would come in, or
You
No,
find
they didn't-
out.
I don't think they said when. I think they just said it was going to be like 2 expansion teams, 1.5 billion each as the expansion.
Right.
fee.
I think that was
Um,
Alan Walsh's report.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know
I
about.
think he had Atlanta. I don't know about Houston, but I think
No,
that's
it
what
was
I think he had
Houston.
Houston too.
I know.
Houston? Okay.
I know. I don't know Jacob's opinion on this, but Mateo, I know you're not a big fan. Why? I just want to know like why.
I just think that I think we have the perfect balance in the NHL right now, where you have balanced conferences. You have, I really hate it when you have teams that are just not NHL teams, and I think we saw it when we see it a lot. It happens a lot when there's a big prospect coming. Like they say, oh, teams don't really tank. They tank. Like we saw last year, or we saw 2 years ago when Bedard was there. There was a lot of teams that just were not NHL rosters, and I didn't think a lot of the guys on those teams were just there because they wanted to lose. I also think that so I look at rosters and like Pontus Holmberg has an NHL slot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think-
look at the rosters at the bottom of the league and tell me that a lot of those guys need an. I don't like. There's a lot of people who think there's too many teams in the league right now. I disagree. I think 32 is the perfect sweet spot. Like I think you look at teams and there's just so much mid in the NHL right now. I think as well. Like I like you look at a lot of these teams, especially in the Western Conference, like Utah. I don't know. Like okay, they have a couple pieces. I don't know.
There's a lot of mid.
Of course, some other.
St.
Yeah,
Louis,
there's a
we were
lot
just
of-
talking about
And like Anaheim has some exciting pieces, but when are they? Like Seattle.
Seattle.
Is a definition of
Like,
it,
oh,
like I don't see the need for 2 more teams in the NHL. I really
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like the NHL, I feel like it's taken them such a long point to get to a place where they have 32 teams that are all making money and they're all succeeding and they're like on to some level, right? And they have 32 teams with good fan bases. Utah's been great. What a revelation.
Roster's been mid, but dude, that fan base looks unreal, and that building's a little bit weird. I know they're gonna make some changes to it, but they sell out a lot, and it looks like a playoff atmosphere in there every single night.
Yeah, which is too bad that they're not going to make it this year, but
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I didn't expect them to make it. I know Seb was on the
yeah.
Utah train.
I guess remember when I was younger, like
Storming
maybe 10 years back, a lot of the things I would think about a lot, which never gets brought up anymore, was relocation. Because how many teams were there that they couldn't sell out their
Doesn't seem really
arenas?
struggling right now.
They sucked. Like Arizona, Florida, Carolina. I don't know if anyone else was really in that
those
conversation.
were the
Tampa
big
got
three.
Stamkos. It was Tampa.
But
there.
before Tampa got Stamkos, yeah, and even Pittsburgh before they got Crosby, apparently that was close.
We're
Well,
close.
I think they were about to claim for bankruptcy right
were
before
Yeah.
close, they were close.
They won the lottery.
I mean, even
which is why that lottery was rigged.
even Nashville
not.
before they had that final run before, like they weren't doing so well. So I don't know. I don't really. I don't know. I think we could just let it ride a little bit for a couple of years and see how it goes. But it doesn't seem like that's how it's gonna go, which is too bad.
I
I also want to say one more thing. The people, like, it's a story we didn't really talk about because I kind of thought it was like whatever. It's kind of cool. Josh Levo has like record-breaking amount
he's
of goals
cracked.
in the KHL.
He's cracked.
He has like
this year.
49 goals in the KHL, and people are like, "Oh, this is what happens." Like, you could definitely expand. Like, you just need to give guys a chance. I'm like, well, no. I
Josh
don't
Levo had a
think
chance.
that- yeah, like I don't. They're like, oh, I saw someone in particular say, oh, you just need to give people chances on the first line and power play one. It's like, no, you don't. Because like the guys who deserve those chances get the chances, and then you see, and it's like, I think that just because you go abroad and you score does not mean that if you had those chances in the NHL you would have scored. So a lot of people are like, oh, look at all this talent outside, but how many times do we see guys come from the KHL who are tearing it up and they come to the NHL and it's just not the
All
same.
the time.
I don't like. One guy's Lebanon. The Leafs sent Lebanon to the KHL. He got like 3 games here, and he was putting up insane amounts of points, and he just couldn't really stick in the NHL once he got here.
Like the only case I can really think of that where it really worked out, or the two cases are Artemi Panarin and Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah. And both of those guys are different because they got drafted and they stayed in the K.
Not
So, like, they
Panarin.
were
Yeah.
Not
NHL
Panarin.
Oh yeah,
was
Panarin was
undrafted.
undrafted.
Panarin was undrafted, but sorry, Kaprizov was drafted.
Kuzmenko had
they were
one
high
good
probably
year.
coming out of the draft. Yeah, like you see guys fall off. Like it's not you can have one great year in the NHL and then you fall off a cliff. And I think you just said Kuzmenko looked
Yeah,
good in
yeah.
Vancouver. And I thought he looked pretty solid in Calgary at the start, and now we see he's not really there. So I don't know. I just don't think. I think there's enough talent in the league where teams aren't terrible.
Yeah.
I think you gotta keep it like
You'll need
that.
to change the playoff format too, because if you have 34 teams and keep the same format, there will be more than half of the league missing the playoffs, and that,
Yeah.
like, why are we doing this?
I want to say
So go ahead.
there's pros and cons to expansion. I think the thing that you get when you expand is, especially when you're getting into markets that aren't developed markets, you're growing the game in a way that more talent will be coming up eventually. And I don't see the argument of like right now, like, oh, there's a lot of mid or like there's a lot of teams tanking, because the teams have always done that in the NHL. This is not a new development where like teams have rostered or franchises have rostered a team where it's like barely NHL caliber. Like we've saw Edmonton when McDavid was drafted. How many teams in the league that year did they just completely strip everything down and were
No, Buffalo
rostering
did too.
garbage
Buffalo treated
teams?
everybody.
Yeah, Buffalo was the worst example of it. They were like
They traded
that was an
any goalie that
AHL
we could
team,
save.
and
Yeah.
even right now, like the difference in standing between like, oh, there's a lot of mid teams now. There was a lot of mid teams back 10, 15 years ago too. I don't see the argument that way, and there are always guys who are bubbling below the surface somewhere that will pop up. Look at what Vegas did in their expansion draft. There were guys
Yeah,
all
but look
over
what
the
Seattle
league.
did in there. Look at what Seattle did in theirs. Like that's the problem. Like you said that you grow fan bases, and I think, or you grow like viewership and people who watch more hockey because maybe their city gets it. Like, okay, that might be true, but also if you're a Seattle type of expansion draft and not a Vegas type of expansion draft, there's a real risk there where that fan base does not stick. Like Vegas,
Well,
I'm telling you right now, Vegas came into the lead and they've done a brilliant job because they had 1 year where they missed the playoffs and they were still tight. It was still a race, and you keep a fan base together because you win, especially in the South. I'm telling you, in those places where football is the number one sport, basketball, even college basketball ranks ahead of it, you need teams that win to catch their attention. Because if you're shit coming out of the expansion draft, like, you might have attendance for 1 year because it's a new thing. But if you don't win early, you have a high risk of losing that fan base, and it becomes a Arizona where you can't get people to come to the building.
I was gonna say I don't think this is something that should be done like soon. For me, if they are gonna go forward with this and go with 34 teams, I'm not necessarily on the thing of like they need to do this. I think it is I don't think it's a bad idea to expand a little more, but I think 34 is probably the max.
Yeah.
Because I think if you go past 34, you go to like 36. It's just like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Like we're having like a team per state at this point, or like a team per province and whatever. It's like it gets a little wild. But I don't know. Just in my opinion, I think it's growing. Not only the game in those markets, as long as they are successful, which is again why I do think this isn't something that should happen for at the bare minimum 5 to 10 years. Because then that gives 5
years, though.
Sorry. Oh, like I know this. Yeah, it's weird. It sounds like it's supposed to happen fairly soon. I'm not of that opinion. I think it should wait at least 5 to 10 years, somewhere in that range. Because then you give teams now time to stabilize, and it. I just don't see the arguments of like, the talent and whatever being like muddled down and everything, or like that there's going to be a lot more like mid teams or a lot of bad teams, because I just don't see that argument, because it's never been an issue in the NHL, and I don't think it ever will be. When you think about it realistically, there are how many players in the NHL right now? Like, I don't know the exact number, but it's got to be what, like 500 to 800 out of
something like that.
Global hockey players. Like there are talented players out there that will succeed when given a chance. Some guys don't work out, some guys do, and those guys that do, normally they'll find a way. And I think all you're doing with 2 new expansion teams is those guys that find a way, there's another avenue for them. Like look at like Jared McCann though. Like
that's a good example.
Jared McCann was like a decent third line center for his career, and then goes to Seattle, and now he's a pretty great top 6 option.
40 goal scorer.
There's always going to be guys like that, and I think the issue is that Vegas has set this extremely unrealistic standard of what an expansion team should be. Yeah. They blew it out of the water. I think Seattle is a much more realistic option of how expansion teams typically will go in any market, because an expansion draft isn't supposed to give you like extremely talented roster out the gate.
Well, if you look at Vegas' expansion draft, Vegas didn't get the players from the draft.
Exactly.
They got them from trades. Like,
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Their players were all through trades, not only at the expansion draft, but just throughout the years. They've gone out and gotten the best player possible. They abused trading their prospects. They abused trading all their picks. They did it a different way, and I think they've blown the expectations out of the water to where I think it's unrealistic to expect every team to like make the playoffs every season. I think Seattle is a much more realistic expectation as to how.
But I think with Seattle is the thing is with Seattle, and I think this is something that you might run into other expansion teams, is that they know that they have to set a little bit of a market or a little bit of a fan, like they have to get a fan base, so you have to be kind of good in the first like year, and then you have to be somewhat competitive. And I think it's a problem when you have a team like Seattle who are so painfully mid, because I don't think you pick a direction. I think these guys are scared of picking the direction of tanking because they don't want to lose anybody who's already there. Because you know what? When you have, especially in Seattle, like, listen, Seattle's a little bit different because you have two teams. You have the Seahawks, who they will always support regardless. Like, NFL markets are crazy. And you have the Kraken. If you go to Houston, you have the Astros, who always fill their ballpark. And for baseball standards, obviously baseball hundreds or 81 home games, so you're gonna have a couple games where a few games where it's empty. But you have the Astros, and you have the Houston Texans, who are huge. The NFL, massive, obviously. I think the risk you run if you bring a team to Houston is that if they aren't good enough in the first few years, you kind of lose that fan base, and you don't really grow that market all that much.
I do see that argument with teams that are going into markets that are a little more developed than other sports. I think the advantage they did get with Vegas and Seattle is that
They were the first ones.
they don't really like, especially with Vegas. That was the first
Vegas,
team.
yeah.
Like that team is like Vegas's baby. They love Vegas. Seattle, like you said, not really a huge sports market there right now. I think Seattle
they have the
kind of
Mariners
jumped.
too, sorry, but the Mariners.
Oh, the Mariners,
are
they're whatever. But
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the thing with Houston that is attractive to the NHL is just the pure population base. I think I don't know the exact position they are, but they're one of like the top
I believe they're
cities in North
Atlanta.
America.
they're top 5 in North
Atlanta
America.
too.
It'd be the same thing with Atlanta.
I will say the people who are like, oh, they've done it twice in Atlanta and it's never gonna work. Never try it again. It's like, bro,
I disagree
it's
with
not
that,
the
though.
it's not the
Yeah.
city. It was the ownership. And plus,
Yeah.
like, are we really gonna take into account a defunct team from like the 70s?
No,
Are
we
we
can't.
really
Oh,
gonna
we need to
count that
stop
into,
this.
like, modern...
It's like saying,
No, but the thing is, I think there is something valuable to the Thrashers' experience, though, with the fact that you have to build a competitive team early, because that team
true.
was so bad for so long, and
Yeah.
they had one playoff series. And you know what? The fans showed up when they had a playoff series, but I'm telling you, that's what the U.S. market's like. If you don't win, they're not gonna watch. They don't. There's not a lot of loyalty in big U.S. markets. So you go to Atlanta, you have the Falcons, you have the Braves, who are a great franchise. Like, you have those teams there already. That also the Atlanta Hawks. The NBA is big. I know the Hawks have been pretty shit for a while here, but I am just scared that you bring teams in here and you get more of a Seattle type of expansion than you do with a Vegas type of expansion, and then I don't think you grab that fan base as hard.
I don't think it's necessarily something to be fully scared of, though, because I think, again, the Seattle expansion is the realistic expectation of what an expansion should be. And
Right, which is
Seattle,
why you have to handpick the markets a
but
little bit better.
Seattle is still fine. They're not
Yeah.
like struggling in any way. They've got a relatively bright future ahead of them. They've got
Yeah,
Burke
but I
Catton
think-
in the system. They've got Shane Wright, who's been great this
Yeah.
year. They don't really have too much on defense in
Beniers
terms
is
of the
still
future, but
Beniers, yeah.
Decord has been great, and he's looking like the
Vince
goalie
Dunn.
of the future for them. They're going to get
It's just,
another
I
decent
think-
top pick
I
this
think
year. They got
you start
Beniers.
getting scared with that market if it keeps going like this, because I think I don't even know about, you know what, I don't know about if you get scared with Seattle, because I think Seattle did an incredible job with the rollout of the team. Like, they made it
Yeah.
so integrated with the rest of the city. But I think, like, any market that's not Toronto, that's not the Rangers, even Montreal, they don't fill the building. Like, Montreal's a rare example of a huge market that will not fill a building if you're shit. Like, the fans just won't take it. Like, they just won't go to your game. And I think I wish we had that in Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, when the Leafs were shit, I really wish we weren't selling out every.
We need a
single
little
night
bit of
because
that attitude.
we have those businesses there. Yeah, but I just think that in the, I know we've already kind of talked about it, but the markets that aren't alone with the hot, like, if you have, like, sorry, what am I trying to say here? Like, if you have cemented fan bases in other sports within that market, it's a little bit harder for people to give a fuck about your team if you're not good. Like,
Yeah, there's already commitment there. It's hard to become a fan of a new team, a new sport for
especially
some
when the
people.
hockey season kind of overlaps with baseball
Yeah.
a little bit.
And the NBA.
Like, if you're not good enough, guess what? The Braves are on. I'm gonna go watch the Braves. I don't need to watch the Thrashers again. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think my biggest thing is just that you have to kind of trust that. I think this is why selecting an owner is like the biggest key to a new team, because you have to trust that that owner is going to have this franchise properly run. Because I think,
do you trust
because
Gary
I think,
Bettman?
like
I don't.
to your point, like you just said, if you're not one of the top teams in the NHL, especially if you're a team in the U.S., if you're struggling and your team sucks, you're realistically, unless if you're not like an established team, we were just talking about it earlier. Look at 10 years ago. The Panthers could have been relocated. The Hurricanes could have been relocated. The Coyotes were just relocated. Like if you're not an established team and you don't have, good management, you don't have good ownership, you're gone. You're going to get relocated somewhere or something's going to happen. And I think that's why selecting an owner is such a big deal. I think if you select a big owner or a good owner, a team struggling necessarily out the gate is not going to be a huge concern because you can trust that owner is going to have this team at least properly run in a certain amount of time, or at least in a shorter period of time. There's certainty there that they will get to a profitable team or something like that.
Pretty good owner. I think Ryan Smith kind of fell in their laps with Utah because he already had the Jazz there. I think
Vegas has a great owner. Seattle has a great owner.
Michael Andlauer.
Slam dunk on the Ryan Smith.
Bettman picked Arizona's owner like 3 different times. Shit, all 3 times.
I think the other issue
for a little bit, the NHL owned the team.
I think the issue,
and then like I said, Ryan Smith fell into their laps because he already had the arena with the Jazz, so you kind of had him there already, and he said, "Hey, I want to buy it." So you go with the guy who runs the pro sports team already. I think
I'm wondering how important Gary Bettman's role right now is, because if we look at the past 10 years with what they've picked in terms of ownership for expansion teams, ignoring Arizona, they hit a slam dunk with Vegas. Vegas is
Bill Foley's great.
Top ownership.
Yeah,
they did great with the Seattle ownership. I know your point on Ryan Smith kind of falling into the lap at the end of
Ottawa.
the day. I'm sure there were other guys that wanted that Arizona team, and they went with Ryan Smith.
Ottawa, they fucked up too because Andlauer went in there and he got pissed off because guess what happened? The owner that had the team before fucked up with the trade, and now I lose my first round pick. And there was a lot.
Okay, but that's
reports that Andlauer was so upset with NHL.
That's a different thing though. He was a good owner.
Yeah, but that's a different thing. Andlauer's still a good owner.
Yeah.
That's you're making a point on that, but like is that his fault? Like, why is he getting punished for something that the last owner did?
Which is also on Bettman.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
When Bettman picked Andlauer, they didn't tell him about what was going on with Ottawa with that, because I think that investigation was still underway, and he was pissed off that he just had to pay that amount of money. Like, Bettman is not I don't think he's a very good commissioner.
I think we all know that. Yeah.
Right, so I don't know if I fully trust him to pick the right owner for this team.
We'd have to see, I guess. I don't know, but I think in terms of expansion, he's done a good job picking good owners, and in terms of that kind of realm, I think he's done a good job in picking ownership groups that will be awarded these kind of franchises, at least recently. So we'll see. That's why I'm wondering if either he's changed his mindset or something on how he's picked, or if there's external, like maybe Bill Daly has more of a say now in this kind of ownership picking. Like, I think they're kind of grooming Bill Daly to be the guy that kind of takes over that role as commissioner after once.
Bettman.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm just of the mindset that, like, I don't think 34 teams is necessarily a bad thing in terms of like the talent pool being muddied. I don't think that's a realistic argument. I think there's always going to be talent in the NHL, and there's always talent surfacing.
You've swayed me on this, honestly.
I don't think the star talent will be an issue. I think it's more the middle of the rosters. Like, I think you pull guys from middle of the rosters on every team, and it's like imagine like McMahon gets pulled from the Leafs. Like, I'm just throwing his name out there.
Cry.
Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you lose those guys, and then you're stuck with more Pontus Holmberg in everyone's middle six, and like the product is muddied a little bit. Like, it's not as always watered down. Sorry, product is watered down.
I mean, you're talking about one guy from each team though, and free agency always happens every year where teams will kind of replace those needs. I think I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal per se in terms of the talent being distributed, because like we've seen this happen twice in the past, however many years, where Seattle came in and they picked a guy from every single team, and I mean every other top team survived perfectly fine with one of their guys being taken, or they replaced that need somewhere else. Like, I don't think it's going to be a huge deal in terms of the talent being moneyed down.
I think
see the argument in terms of like the success, but I think if you have good ownership, it's not a concern. You just have
Yeah.
to trust that the owners that are going to be picked are good.
I,
But
I think we've exhausted
I
our
don't know.
points on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say I think we want to move on to Ovi because I think Ovi.
Oh.
We've never really talked about Ovi on the
Not
pod,
too
like,
much.
the whole race.
Yeah, I don't know.
know if it's just because
I don't have many thoughts on it. I've just kind of accepted it as a given. He's gonna break the record, and that's great. That's
It's gonna be
awesome.
this season.
it's gonna be cool to see history. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
lie.
yeah.
I've been like watching the Caps like scores to just see like, okay, when do I need to start watching Caps games regularly?
Yeah.
Like, because there's
Yeah.
no way I'm missing that moment live.
I
like
really don't want to. So
I might be-
biggest record in NHL
Yeah.
history.
I might be a Caps fan the next couple of weeks. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's just interesting. I thought going into this season, I'm like, there's no way he does it this year. And then he broke his leg, and I'm like, yeah, there's no
It's
chance
cooked.
he does it. And then he comes back like an insanely short
This
period
is
of
like-
time later,
dude.
and he keeps scoring.
Do you guys want to
It's
hear
like-
something that's really exciting? The Leafs
Yeah.
do not play the Capitals for the rest of the season.
Oh,
It's not gonna happen against us.
First thing I looked at was the schedule. I'm like, please do not be one of the last games of the year.
Is it like, do we,
He kills us too, man.
dude?
He's great.
Like, is this like the best like age? Ovi's like 39, dude. Is this like the best age
Yeah.
39 plus season we've ever seen? Like, this dude is on a
Probably.
50 goal pace at.
It'd probably be like.
Oh, Gordie Howe, maybe.
I know Gordie Howe had like a 100-point season, but I think this is arguably more impressive. Like, he's going to break the NHL all-time goals record in an injured season with like a 50-goal pace at 39 years old in a more difficult NHL.
Man, he's crazy.
I think this is one of the most like, if not the most impressive age 39 season we've ever seen.
Dude, Gordie.
But I don't
I've
know.
never looked at Gordie Howe's hockey DB. Just
He's kinda
like,
cracked.
I don't look at Gordie. Like, I don't look at Legends hockey DB that much. It's like, oh, you know, Wayne Gretzky, Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe's hockey DB is
So
an
long.
essay.
It's insane.
Him and
So long,
him and
it keeps
Jagers.
going.
Jagers is
He
bad too.
took a break in 71 and 72, 1971 to 1973 took a break, and then he came back to WHA with Houston and had
Yeah.
100 points.
Dude, that guy played when he was in the NHL when he was like 53.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he put up 41 points in 80 games with the
Like,
Hartford Whalers, man.
that's
Like,
crazy.
what? I know.
How do you play in
but
your
yeah, I don't know.
50 like in the NHL in your 50s? That's crazy.
Just a couple score updates here as the games start to wind down and we move into like the later slots. Early in the halfway through the first period, Flames and Islanders are tied 1-1. The Kings are up on the Canes halfway through the first period, 1-0, and the Blues are still tied 0-0 with the Blackhawks halfway or just over like 15 minutes into the second period. So
Leafs ass game right there.
yeah. And there's like one other. I think we have to wrap soon, so we're gonna. There's one last small point.
Sure.
Patrick Maroon said he was announcing his retirement after the season.
Also Mateo before the podcast. I don't even want to touch on it. That's just
Yeah,
like
no, I
not
don't.
important. I don't even want to touch on it.
No, listen, I that's a little bit of me just not liking Patrick Maroon. In the
Who
slightest.
does really if he's not on your team?
Yeah, honestly, most players I could even be like, oh yeah, good for him. He had a good career. Really happy for him. Nah, get out of my league.
Just
I don't need
hey
you.
man, the 3 straight cups was
Listen,
kind of crazy, or the 4 straight cup finals was kind of crazy.
He was drafted 161st overall. Like he was not like a first round. pick.
All right, fine. He worked hard to get where he was. I changed my mind. Good for him.
Guy was kind of cracked for the
839
London
shot
Knights, eh?
For the
90
London
points
Knights.
to 64
What the
games
fuck?
in 08 for the Knights. It's kind of cracked.
He never really had like big point total seasons, but he was a big part of the Blues Cup especially. He was
Yeah.
a big part of
Back-to-back Tampa Cups.
He
the back-to-back Tampa Cups. He was a good depth player.
he did score 27 goals on McDavid's wing
With
once.
the Oilers. That's
Yeah.
all Connor
Here's-
McDavid. That's
100%.
all Connor McDavid. That's
Listen, he's an asshole on the ice. I cannot stand him.
Who
at
can?
all. I think
Who
every
can?
single- the worst was watching him and Perry with Tampa.
Oh man.
A miserable experience that
Jesus
the Leafs had to go
Christ.
through. They beat them that year, right? Maroon was up. Did they beat them
I
that year?
I don't know.
I think they were there for 2 years. We beat them the second time.
You're right.
Because I'm pretty sure Perry went there after the bubble, which was the first time
Yeah,
we
he
played
did.
Tampa, and then he was
'Cause he
still
played in
there the
Dallas
second
during
time.
bubble, did he?
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he played Montreal.
No.
or
Montreal
sorry.
in the bubble.
No, Dallas
Sorry,
was the bubble. Dallas was the bubble.
Montreal.
Dallas.
2020, 2021 with the North Division, he was with Montreal, and then he went to Tampa because Montreal played Tampa in the final, and he jump shipped to Tampa.
And lost both times.
Yeah, and lost both times. Yeah.
Shouldn't have happened to a nicer guy, man.
Man, 3 straight Stanley Cup final losses is wild. Like, oh,
You know what?
4 straight. He was with Dallas too.
wait,
Yeah.
He went to 4 straight Cup finals.
wait, no, he didn't.
Corey Perry's the day Corey Perry retires, the hockey DB is gonna be interesting because he was so gross in Anaheim and
Yeah.
then, like just kind of hung
Dude,
around
Corey
for a long
Perry.
time.
Corey Perry's been like a 4th line grinder for like 10 years.
But he's still effective and finds his way to stay in the
Yeah,
league.
it's
like,
crazy.
Incredible, man.
No, he was only in 3 straight
It's
finals.
incredible.
2020,
No, he was in
2021,
4 straight Cup finals
2022.
'cause he was with Dallas, and then he was with Montreal.
Dallas in
and then
2020, Montreal in
Tampa 2 years.
2021, and then Tampa
know.
was 2022, and then 2023 Tampa was when the Leafs beat them. But then he went last year
Or sorry, Jake.
year with
It
Edmonton was
wasn't
the
4
fourth.
years. No, you're right. Sorry, my fault.
3, yeah.
But he's
Still, though,
If you
3
won
straight
the
finals
Stanley
is
Cup
crazy.
Finals appearance, you sign Corey Perry.
Yeah.
if you want to lose.
If you want to lose,
Yeah.
though, then
You know what I never realized?
You're not in a ring, but you get to be.
I knew he had a cup, but I didn't know it was in his second season.
yeah.
He also had
No,
a heart.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
right.
he did. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You're right.
And a
This is a
rocket, I
crazy
think.
career.
Anaheim. That Getzlaff, Perry
Combo.
Ducks. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I remember when they got Ryan Kesley.
Yeah. Anyways,
Do you
I
remember when David Backus was an Anaheim Duck?
do.
I do.
He was traded for
Ryan Miller was the Anaheim Duck.
Ryan Miller. He was there for a while.
That's a.
Do you remember that Spezza like fake slap shot
Oh.
go around or on Miller? It was on Miller. Fake slap shot go around. Roof
Oh
and, like,
yeah, that was nasty. Oh my
Remember when
god.
Jason Spezza in the North Division was like the best points per 60 player in the league.
Why? Like,
Dude, that bottom six was so much fun because I love Spezza and I
Yeah.
love Simmons and they were both in it.
man,
Spezza
that
was so good.
special.
I love Spezza so much.
I've got a game if you guys have time.
Yeah, I thought. we
I
had to
thought-
wrap
I
this
thought-
up
I thought
ago.
you wanted to, but
No, I've
4:30.
got a minute. We can. So my game
bet.
today, we're gonna play today's pucldoku live on the show.
Yes. Okay, I like this. I like this.
Can I pull it up on my screen? Is it on screen or am I good to do that?
I'm gonna share my screen so you can see it.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
I didn't know you
This
could
is
do
gonna be
that.
interesting.
I don't know if it's gonna record. I hope it does. My screen.
Yeah, I think.
If not, then
okay.
I'll make sure I say everything out loud too. But let's start in the top left corner. Boston and Vancouver. And okay, but
Okay.
also first we're going for best uniqueness score here.
Best unique.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Nikita Zadorov's gonna be pretty high.
Yeah.
did Kasha didn't play for Vancouver?
No,
did
he did not.
No.
There's Ryan Spooner,
I'm getting
I
mixed up 'cause he
think.
played for the Ducks and he was.
Ryan Spooner, I don't think
Ryan,
played
did
for the
Ryan
Canucks.
Spooner play for Vancouver? I'm pretty sure
But he
did.
did play for the Islanders. And the
Ryan Spooner?
did he? Because
I don't
was
think
he
he
traded
did.
for Ryan Strome? Edmonton.
Yeah, but that was Edmonton.
And he, oh,
That was Edmonton
Was
that
it-
traded.
but he also
I
played
think
for-
he played for Vancouver.
Ryan Spooner. Are we confident in this guess?
If we
No,
lose
I
in
am
the
not
first
confident
round
in
because of
Ryan
you-
Spooner.
I'm not
Keep that
confident
on,
in
like,
this guess.
the back burner. Keep
Uh,
that on the back burner.
I guess Jake DeBrusque would be pretty high on that list.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Jake DeBrusque, Nikita Zadorov.
Danton
are pretty
Heinen
high.
would be a little better.
Danton Heinen's not bad.
Yeah, I
Oh!
said Danton Heinen. Like it
Sorry, no. I was gonna say Cam Neely, but I feel like that one's gonna be pretty high up. But it's like he like hardly played for the Canucks, so that's why it would be okay. But
Danton
I
Heinen.
still say we don't.
let's go Danton
you know?
Heinen.
Yeah, I think Danton Heinen might be the best.
I do want to check if Spooner played though.
Yeah, we can check now. I guess if Spooner played.
Danton
What did we
Heinen,
get for
2%.
Two, perfect. That's good.
Do we want to go vertical or horizontal here?
I don't care.
Whatever you want.
Oh, he did, bro.
Oh.
He was so good.
That would have been a
He
good
played
one.
11 games in Vancouver.
Okay, good. Nice one,
I
Seb.
thought I remembered him playing in Vancouver, but I couldn't. I wasn't sure. Let's go horizontal here. Let's just get the Boston
Okay.
out the way because I hate that franchise.
Boston,
with a
New
burning
York
passion.
Islanders.
Boston Islanders.
Chara is the obvious one.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Did Ross Johnson play for both of them?
Ross
I think Ross Johnson's only played for the Islanders.
Ross Johnston. No, I think he's in Anaheim now, dude.
Oh fuck,
Yeah.
he's not.
Riley Smith. Didn't he play for?
No, he
The
never
Islanders?
played for
I don't
the
think he played for-
Islanders.
Oh no, he played for Vancouver. Didn't
The issue, this is the
Mike
issue
Riley?
Every time I haven't. Who?
he? Mike Riley, sorry, not Riley.
Mike Riley's
yeah,
a good
Mike
one.
Riley's who
I was
thinking.
gonna say every time I get like an Islanders thing in my pucldoku, it's so annoying because I feel like they've had like just the exact same roster for like 7 years.
Yeah, but it's just like rotating.
There's no
like,
turnover.
pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike Riley might
Like
be.
I'm a goalie guy, so I want to get a goalie in here so bad, but I don't think like the Islanders have had the same goalies forever.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if Rick DiPietro played.
Halak.
Oh, Halak.
Oh, sure. Do you want to go Halak or do you,
Rice might have even played for Boston, but I know Halak for sure played for both.
What
what do you think will be lower,
Halak's-
Halak or Mike Riley?
I think Halak, because Mike Riley's more recent.
Yeah, I don't remember Halak playing for the
Mike
Bruins.
Riley played for Boston for a while.
We'll go
and he
Halak,
was
we'll go Halak.
Recently on the Islanders.
Wait, who do we think is the most obvious one? then?
7.
Okay.
We can
Chara,
check after
Chara.
to see.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, Avalanche.
Avalanche defense.
Ray Bork's the
I think
obvious
go
one.
Zadorov.
Oh, Zadorov would be good.
Could go
Yeah.
Zadorov for this one. That might be pretty low. I feel like people don't really
Zadorov.
remember him as an
The
Av.
most obvious one would have been Ray.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Ray Bork.
Um,
I think Zadorov
so-
might be good here.
Zadorov wouldn't be bad.
Avalanche defenseman.
I just feel like Zadorov is a bigger name, so I think I'm scared of the uniqueness.
Yeah, man, Bruins and Avalanche defenseman. That's hard.
It is really hard.
Did Calvin DeHaan ever play for the Bruins?
I don't think so.
It's like I just
He was in Ottawa there for a bit. Was
go through the journeyman in my head.
This
Derek
one's
Johnson ever played for Buffalo or for
no,
Boston?
he did not.
Avalanche defenseman.
Man, this is brutal. I'm like, I feel like Zadorov might
Zadorov?
be.
Let's just go Zadorov. If I can type. Zadorov 14%. Ah.
that one.
Okay.
Canucks 20 games played, playoff career.
Alexander Burrows type
Matt
shit.
Sundin.
Okay, but I
Does it
don't.
have to be
That might
Vancouver?
miss because like I don't know if they need to have. I can't remember pucdoku rules. Is it they?
To test it on my
Oh no, it says player must play one regular season or postseason NHL game to count for team.
Okay.
Oh
did
wait,
they make
one
the
regular or
playoffs when
postseason
Sundin
season
was there?
NHL game.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, so
go
they only have to
Sundin.
play for the team ever. They don't have to play.
Let's go Sundin.
Okay, let's go Sundin. I feel like he's gonna be bad
can we go
uniqueness.
Travis Dermott?
We could go Travis Dermott. Can we go?
Did he play? I don't think he played 20 games with us in the playoffs, though, because he was in and out of the lineup that one year against Montreal, wasn't he? With Sandin.
Yeah, but he was with us for like 5 straight years, dude.
But yeah, but we only played. I guess.
He was
7
consistent.
games
We
in
played
all of
7 games every year.
He was not with the Leafs for
And
5
he was
years.
with us for at least. He was there
Dude,
starting from
I don't think he has-
2017,
I don't think
18.
he has 20 playoff games in his. I don't think he has 20 playoff games.
But did he? Who did he play with last year? Arizona. So no.
I think we just go Sundin.
Okay, let's go Sundin. I feel like it's gonna be bad though.
Brendan Leipzig.
2%, not bad. That's a good
2%'s
one.
Not awful. We can live with that, I think.
That's better than I thought it was gonna be.
20 player. Okay. Matt Martin.
Oh, this is Islanders 20
Matt-
plus games played playoff career. Matt Martin's not bad. Like anyone on the identity line would be okay. Cizikas, Clutterbuck.
I just don't want to go with a big name because I feel like it would screw us over with the unique.
Yeah, we're already
The
bad.
way I
with
was
the
about
Bruins.
to
Islander, if you go with a depth Islander during their runs, you could get 20 games in one playoff stint. Like,
I was gonna straight up say
Derek Brassard.
I was about to say Dmitro Timashov, dude.
Shaw.
what? No chance.
Did he?
Derek Brassard might not be bad.
Halak?
Can't use the same player twice.
Well, we can't. Yeah, we can't.
Oh, we can't. You're right.
Rob.
I just thought it would be too obvious.
I was gonna say Robin Leonard, but he has not played 20 career playoff games.
I'm feeling good about Derek Brassard. I feel like people forgot he was an Islander.
True.
He could
I
be
think
good.
Brassard's a good one.
Yeah,
go
that
Derek
might be
Brassard.
the move. I was gonna say
0.5%,
Devontae's,
let's
0.5.
go.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, okay, good. Avalanche defenseman. Okay, we could go like with anybody in the last. No, just
Jack
5 years.
Johnson, has he played 20 career playoff games?
He has a cup.
Wait, Jack Johnson?
but
Yeah,
he
we go Jack Johnson
dressed,
then.
though. But did he dress in all of them?
Oh,
No, but they don't have
it.
to play that with the Avs.
This is-
They've just had to.
But
have
he's
been an
played for
Avs
shit
defenseman
teams
at a
his whole
certain
career.
point. But you just said he had a cup.
Yeah, but
Like Jack
he had
Johnson
cup
was
on the-
but Jack Johnson at one point was like a consistent top 4 defenseman.
Yeah, but on shitty teams though. So he have to play 20 games in the playoffs. Did he play 20 games in the playoffs?
I don't know.
He was with LA for a time.
Do
Yeah.
you think Ray Bork would still be a high percentage?
Yes.
Probably.
Adam Foote. Sam Gerard.
Devin Taves.
Yeah.
That'd be too. I feel like the uniqueness rating would be shit on that.
Yeah.
Because partner the whole time.
Just trying to think like.
Zadorov? Do we want to? Oh, we already. used
I
him.
was trying to think like who might have been there in like the
Curtis McDermott?
late 2000. Curtis McDermott. That's not bad.
But did he play in 20? The problem is that like you have to play. The problem with depth defensemen is that they go in and out of the lineup during the playoffs, so like you don't know.
Yeah.
They might have been in a 20-game run, but they didn't dress in all 20. You know.
Who was the one that we said that we liked?
Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson, yeah.
I think we could lose it here.
Do we want to save this for last? Because I feel like
Let's
we
save
can
it for
get the
last.
bottom row. We can knock out the bottom row pretty easily. This one's gonna be
yeah.
hard to get good uniqueness on.
Okay, 2021 to today.
So-
Nils Hoglander?
Played a
Odd
season. Let's play a season on selected team. Okay, so they didn't. They don't have to be a current player. They just had to play a season on one of these teams between
Oh.
2020 and today.
Oh. Pod Colson?
Travis Boyd.
Travis
Travis
Boyd's a good
Boyd.
one. Jimmy VC's a good one too.
VC.
VC.
Travis
they had
Dermott.
So many former Leafs. Travis Dermott. Oliver Ekman Larson.
Phil DiGiuseppe.
Braden Holtby.
Oh.
Braden
Braden Holtby, Vancouver Canucks is my favorite goalie ever. You know how pissed off he was defenseman in Vancouver? That was so funny.
God,
That
Braden
was so
Holt.
funny.
I remember he got just
Being
dicked on by
relaxed, too.
Matthews. He just got
Yeah, and
dicked
he-
on by that one
Yeah,
goal.
no, but it was like a weird bounce off the glass. and the
Jalen
defenseman kinda,
Chatfield.
stood there. Yeah, no Jalen
Tucker
Chatfield.
Pullman.
Tucker
Pullman.
Dude, he was on one of our first podcasts. Like we brought him up.
Did we actually?
Yeah,
I feel like there's a million that we could do for this one. They'd be good. There you go. Jalen Chatfield's great.
0.3 beauty.
Okay.
Islanders. See, this is
Alex Post.
this is the same thing.
Duclair.
It's hard because you said like they've had no turnover.
Anthony Duclair.
I feel like that'd be a good
Matt
one.
Martin.
Matt Martin. He's been
The,
there so
yeah,
long.
the Islanders, like you said, have had like barely. Kiefer Bellows.
Robin Leonard.
Yeah, go Kiefer Bellows.
Kiefer Bellows is good.
Marley's Legend.
It's 2 Fs, I think.
Is it?
I wrote an article on Kiefer Bellows when he was like tearing up the AHL.
Yeah, Marley's Legend.
There you go. I'm surprised it's that high.
Okay. And Avs defenseman.
Calvin DeHaan.
We could do the one guy,
Ryan Lindgren.
Curtis McDermott.
We could go Ryan Lindgren.
You think Ryan Lindgren's gonna be?
No, don't go to Ryan Lindgren because I think people would think that trade was so.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think Curtis McDermott's
so
the better one.
fresh, I think. Yeah, go with that.
Wait. Okay, yeah. Sorry, no. McDermott's good.
1%. Nice.
Okay.
Okay. All right, what were we saying for this one?
Jack
We
Johnson.
had, because the
Jack
thing
Johnson.
is here is we're trying to come like we could play it safe and go with like just someone maybe
Like
that's
Devin
not
Taves.
McCarr or Taves. Like we could go with Josh
Yeah.
Manson or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
Josh Manson's good.
But
We're trying to go for like the best uniqueness rating.
that's
yet
what I'm
we don't-
saying. Yeah.
So that's why we go through all the best depth defensemen that they had.
Yeah. Why
The
can't
only
I
one
think
can
of anyone
think
like
of
Eric
is Jack Johnson.
Eric Johnson too is.
Tyson Berry.
Ooh, no, but he was on shitty Colorado teams.
He
though.
played with Edmonton though.
He's definitely got 20 playoff career games.
Okay, yeah. That's what Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch this fail.
If Jack Johnson's there though, I'm gonna be upset. 2% for Tyson. Very nice.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm looking this up right now.
Right now.
Let's see how he did. Oh, people said Louis Erickson was the popular guest for Bruins Canucks.
I just looked up John Jackson.
Yeah, he had 57 career playoff games. Boys.
Who, Jack Johnson?
Yeah.
Jacob, can you see the? If you click, can we see Jack Johnson?
Looking for him. He's gonna be. Oh, Ryan Lindgren would have been
was
good.
so low.
Ryan Graves. Oh. Calvin DeHaan.
Jack Johnson would have been a good pick, man.
Oh, we had all the guys.
Zadorov was there too. Shit.
Risto Siltanen is crazy. What the fuck?
These are people that just hockey DB it. Like they don't even play.
Yeah,
the game.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Matt Hunwick. Holy shit.
Okay, where's Jack Johnson?
Matt Hunwick, Leaf legend.
I just scrolled past
Jacob,
it. Okay,
you
Jack
control
Johnson
F
was
and look up.
was 3.1%.
Okay, 3.1. So we made the better.
Who do we
better
go
pick
with?
anyways? But John Tavares for Islanders.
Oh yeah, Tyson Berry. Okay. Yeah, John Tavares is
Okay.
great. Anyways,
Owen Byram.
That's
that
not
would've been a good one,
terrible.
too.
That's not a terrible
yeah.
game.
Did Connor Timmins log playoff games with the Avs?
No.
Connor Timmins.
That guy played like 4 games for the Avs.
You're right.
They got.
I don't know why I even.
Oh,
he had 2 playoff games with the Avs.
Wow. Jeez.
how?
No, 12. He had 12.
How many?
All right.
How many career?
12 and zeros across the board, bro.
Zach McEwen. Holy
Jack
shit.
McEwen, Max
Victor
Sasson.
Mancini.
Oh my God.
Spencer Martin. Oh my. Daniel Sprong.
Jack
Jordy Bennett.
Studnicka.
Jordy
Cole
Bennett.
McWard.
Podcasting, guys. We cannot
Yeah,
just
okay, let's,
scroll
let's-
and just say crazy
Let's wrap it up here. I hope it actually shared the screen on
hope,
on the recording.
yeah,
Otherwise,
that'd
that's
be
pretty bad.
Yeah, we apologize in advance if it didn't record the screen. But I listen, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the pod. It's a pretty interesting part of the NHL season right now, leading into the playoffs. So we're gonna try to do as many shows as possible for you guys before playoffs come around. Cause then we want to keep everything up to date before the playoffs come around, and we don't want to just jump in randomly to playoffs. So
Yes, we do.
we'll
What?
see how many we can get done.
Oh,
I'm just trying to
Jacob.
look at the scores right now to see if anything
Oh, Jacob.
changed. Yeah, Jacob.
No, you don't want to know what this guy just did on the screen.
Wait, what do you do?
Yep, that.
That's not. Come on, Seb, you do that 30 times a day.
No.
Okay, both of you stop. Both of you, I will turn this car around right now. Okay. NHL scores right now. Blues up on the Blackhawks 2-1 at the end of the second
Shocking.
period. Islanders up on the Flames 2-1 at the end of the first period.
Shocking.
And the Kings are up on the Hurricanes 3-0 at the end of the first.
Actually, genuinely shocking. Wow.
Yeah, and the Stars just beat the Flyers in overtime.
Wow.
So
Mark
Nico Rantanen sucks, by the way.
Mark Gatcomb scored for the Islanders. I don't know who the
All right,
fuck that
I think
is.
that's a beautiful way to just
All right,
end
we're
this
done.
podcast.
Yeah,
Who the fuck
that's
is
great.
Mark
Hope you guys enjoyed.
Goddard?
It's his 5th goal of the year. Who is he? Anyways,
Fuck is
thanks
Mark?
for watching.
I hope you guys enjoyed the pod. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys, if this is the first time listening, I hope you guys can come back for the next one. So
Not after that.
Hope
follow
Mark
us on our
Gatacombe
socials,
enjoyed the
we'll drop
pod.
that in the description. And yeah, have a good day, guys.
Peace out.